breakthroughs and meet with ecosystem and pioneer entrepreneurs. Like during the glorious Renaissance period itself, innovation flourished today throughout Italy, from Rome, Milan to Naples, and Venice, and many other places in between. From connected smart cities and workplaces of the future to AI translation platforms and automated mailboxes, the landscape of digitization here is as breathtaking as its natural countryside, unquote. It seems to me, actually, that, this is quite in contrast with the data often mentioned on the insufficiency of innovation in Italy, data that in fact show, for example, that in our country level of R&D investment in relation to GDP, both public and private, is at a lower level than the EU average, the EU 28, let's say, average. The point, I think, is that we tend to look at innovation capacity of the Italian economic system through the lens of the economic resources invested in research and development, which mainly involve large enterprises, leaving aside the capability of innovation on small and medium-sized enterprises, which are the backbone of our economic system, as you know. And their innovation is often not accounted for and not included in the official statistics, because it's an incremental innovation that does not require from the company much financial and organizational commitment. This does not mean, of course, that we don't need to invest more in innovation, and for the Italian government, this is a priority, actually, also with a view to the implementation of the EU Next Generation Plan for the relaunch of the European economy following the shock of the pandemic, or that innovation does not require greater aggregation effort by our SMEs. But the innovation capability of the economic system remains big and widespread, as it stems from our creativity, so deeply connected to the beauty that surrounds us. It's no coincidence, after all, that in Italy there are about 10,000 innovative startups and over 170 incubators and accelerators. This is the context in which Innovitaly UAE, the Innovitaly UAE project was born. The existence of a heritage and innovation capability that Italy intends to make known in this country, so much projected towards the future, with the aim of identifying the potential for a closer cooperation through the key of innovation. A project which is a journey through 6 high innovation sectors: cybersecurity today, space next week, and then smart cities, life sciences, food technology, renewable energy, water, and circular economy. With the involvement of our respective research centers, universities, companies, startups, incubators, and financial entities. Also with the view to prepare the ground of our participation in Expo 2020 Dubai next year. A journey that is starting in a remote mode, as we do today, but that will continue in, let's say, face-to-face, in presence mode, hopefully next year, hopefully first half of next year. So a special thank you to our partners, Khalifa University of Science and Technology of Abu Dhabi, the Future Foundation, which are 2 pillars of innovation in the UAE. Also, a warm thank to the other speakers today, and let me address a special thank to His Excellency Mohamed Al-Kuwaiti, Chief of Cybersecurity for the UAE, and to Roberto Baldoni, the Director of the Department of Information Security in charge of Italian national security, cybersecurity, and which will be joining us later this afternoon. Finally, thank to our colleagues Valeria Gravagno and Stefano Bonotto, who helped us organizing this event. Thank you so much, and I wish a fruitful exchange today on cybersecurity and the following webinars. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you, Ambassador. And I think that we are now ready to listen to the recorded message that our Executive VP from Khalifa University has recorded for this meeting. So I ask the support to air the message by Dr. Arif Al-Hamadi.
Porgo un caloroso e sensiro benvenuto da parte di Khalifa University of Science and Technology e tutti i nostri partner locali italiani per il forum online di Cybersecurity Toward the New Paradigm. Il primo di 6 eventi che mirano a rafforzare le opportunità di cooperazione bilaterale tra Italia ed Emirati Arabi Uniti. Questa è una piattaforma aperta a tutte le parti interessate del settore accademico e industriale. Khalifa University è orgogliosa di poter mostrare la competenza del suo corpo docente, in particolare in sicurezza informatica e nei settori correlati. Cerchiamo di spendere costantemente la portata della nostra ricerca tecnologica, che sta dando risultati in termini di brevetti e trasferimento di tecnologia alla startup. Ci auguriamo veramente che questo forum per lo scambio di conoscenze e idee porti un ulteriore consolidamento delle relazioni tra i due paesi, difendendo e illustrando gli ambiti di collaborazione tra le istituzioni che partecipano a questa iniziativa congiunta, mentre lavoriamo con i nostri partner italiani per prepararci a Expo Dubai 2020. Grazie della vostra attenzione e buona giornata.
Okay, thank you very much. And also I would like to compliment Dr. Aramadi for his perfect Italian. I mean, really also nice, I mean, the right accent. And now if I'm really glad to leave the stand to the representative of the Dubai Future Foundation, Dr. Noah Rafford, to fill up to complete the program of the welcome statements. Thank you very much. The stand is yours.
Thank you so much, Professor. Thank you, Your Excellency, guests. It's an honor to be here and to see so many familiar faces and to have the chance to really tackle this extraordinarily important topic in the context of the international cooperation between our two countries. I'm just going to share a few slides with you. I think that as this video shows, it's no secret that Dubai and the UAE has experienced this meteoric growth over the last 45 years, but particularly it's fair to say over the last 20 years, as the country has become a world leader in infrastructure and a variety of different sectors, tourism, logistics, education, etc. And as any complex system grows, so too does the amount of challenges that it must overcome. So as we look forward to the next, say, 20 years, it's important to ask, how are we going to tackle the questions which arise, the challenges and opportunities that we will face in a way which helps to benefit not just Dubai and the UAE, but the region and the world. And so our job in the Dubai Future Foundation, as one organization amongst many, we're a wholly government-owned innovation agency, is to ask this question: what does the next 20 years look like? And what can we, as a government-owned foundation, do to help prototype, explore, and build the partnerships locally, regionally, and internationally, which will help position the world to be a better place moving forward? We do that through a variety of different programs, and I share these with you by means of which to say, please come, we welcome you, we participate with you in these. And we have many particular avenues of entry, which we would love to explore with the participants on this call and all of our wonderful colleagues. The first and perhaps most relevant to cybersecurity is the Dubai Future Accelerators. And this is a program where we pair technology companies, startups, medium and large enterprises who have an innovative technology. You see on the screen here the plans for the Hyperloop, which are about a year or two old at this point, with the main regulators and state-owned enterprises that are responsible for both operating and regulating those sectors. Now, this is very, very important because as many of you know, particularly when it comes to cybersecurity and security in general, highly regulated industries are where most of the challenges are going to occur, and indeed where most of the transformation needs to occur if we are able to embrace the challenges of the future. And we can't just leave that to chance. It's important that we build relationships so that companies such as yourselves understand the challenges of the public sector, and the public sector also understands the challenges of the private sector as well. So we built the Dubai Future Accelerators to help bridge the gap between these highly regulated industries and sectors like security and the companies and solutions providers that might be able to help develop the breakthrough solutions. It's been a very successful program. We're in our 8th cohort now, almost 300 different companies from 30 different countries. We've had many fantastically successful Italian companies represented. And our main angle in this program with cybersecurity is the Dubai police, who have developed very exciting solutions coming directly from this program. We also have something which perhaps might not be of direct application when it comes to cybersecurity in the traditional sense, but this is the Dubai Future Labs, which is our newly opened prototyping and fabrication facility for robotics, automation, and applied R&D. But of course, as you know, everything which comes with an automated environment in the space of IoT, in the space of robotics, digitization, has a necessary cybersecurity component to it. So we're actively working with private sector and government partners here to develop new products and new solutions and test products and solutions which you may have through a lens of cybersecurity and marketability. And finally, there's an important policy question around these things. You know, there's the right technical solution for a particular challenge, but how we develop the international protocols, the partnerships, the rules and regulations which help us govern the world successfully going forward is a vital question. And we explore these questions with industry leaders in a variety of sectors, not least of which through our Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution, which is a collaboration between the World Economic Forum and ourselves. At the moment, it's exploring 3 main focus areas: precision medicine, AI, machine learning, and blockchain, and distributed ledgers, as I see my colleague Dr. Marwan will speak about later. But cybersecurity is an absolutely essential layer in every one of these components as well. If we do have the chance of working with you, we would love to welcome you to Area 2071, which is, as I'm sure you know, the 100-year anniversary of the United Arab Emirates, the year 2071. We're approaching the 50th anniversary next year, and so we're making plans for the next 50 years. And one of the key components of that is Area 2071, which we host in Emirates Towers. We have a fantastic partnership with the embassy and with the country of Italy. And this is really intended to be one of your launch pads into the market, particularly, I should say, for regulated industries. So we work in conjunction with the Ministry of Cabinet Affairs and the federal government through something called the Regulations Lab to be able to explore the regulatory shifts necessary to enable you to test out your products and services. Of course, my colleague Mohammed Al-Kuwaiti is the expert in this and will provide much more information on that, but I only share this as one of the potential landing points which you might utilize if you were to enter the UAE going forward. So I'll keep it short, keep it brief, and I would just like to both welcome you from Dubai, but also hopefully someday very soon welcome you to Dubai, and not just Dubai, but to Abu Dhabi, Sharjah, and the rest of the United Arab Emirates, as you will find it to be one of the world-class destinations for testing emerging technologies and the ideas which will help power a better world going forward. So again, thank you for your time, thank you, Your Excellency, and thank you all for putting your minds together for this exciting webinar. With that, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think that we had, the highlights from the people who actually made this possible, this meeting possible. Now it's time to flesh it out with the technical part, the real discussion on the cybersecurity issues. And I'm particularly glad to start this discussion, this section of the program, with the speech by Dr. Mohammed Al-Kuwaiti. So without any further ado, well, I don't think he needs any any special introduction, right? We go way back, and I know everybody else in the meeting, and I'm sure many of the audience know his background. He is now basically the chief responsible for the cybersecurity at the UAE government. So, Dr. Al-Kuwaiti, I'm really glad to leave you the stand.
I am really honored. I am really grateful to be here with all of the pioneers, as well as their excellencies, the ambassadors, and the whole team actually who allowed me and gave me this aspects to be here. Yes, we go long back with the professor with Khalifa University. I am actually an alumni. I did graduate from Khalifa University plus other universities overseas. But the points are said by His Excellency, the ambassador, as well as Mr. Rafford, in that aspects are spot on. Today, the UAE is moving towards a lot of digital transformation. and aiming towards going into that centennials of 2071 to be actually the artificial intelligent government. Our leaders have put that vision with the collaboration with other leaders on the region, on the worldwide, and this is where we are actually aiming to build up that collaboration and help being together as a hub of helping each other to build that safe haven for digital transformation as well as digital economy fostering in many of those aspects. Today, we are faced with the most important things that we've been using actually lately is working from home or working from abroad. And giving an analogy, as I did actually previously with some other team members, where we compared the cyber pandemic with the biological pandemic. The cyber pandemic, with all of this digital transformation and dependencies that we will be actually focused on, will really allows us to be ready for such aspects. Cyber pandemic, if we compare it to that biological in a sense of the infection rate, for example, or on the basis of the safety awareness and hygienes, or even if we compare it to the infection prevention mechanism that we do, you will see many similarities. And the good thing that we build that culture today in the biological pandemic. And we hope to continue and move that hygiene even to the cyber space. Today, we cannot get out of our homes without our mask as a prevention measure, without taking sanitizers, for example, without caring about who we contact in order to avoid any contact tracings of such aspects. In analogy with the cyber, we're talking about, again, similar thing, quarantining an area of a network whenever a virus hits there, as well as isolating such aspects and try to find that root cause analysis of such attack if it happens in that perspective. We saw as well the infection rate. The infection rate today, we talk about the flu or SARS or even COVID. It always varies between 1, 2, or basically 4 maximum. It reached up to 16 rate on that in the early start of that biological pandemic of COVID. Today in the cyberspace, if you see the infection rate, we infect systems. Here, it's actually a huge compared to that aspects. You can easily infect a whole network of thousands of PCs in just one single click, opening an attachment or opening any of those aspects. So the culture of building a very vigilant personals across all of this is important. Who could help us with that today? All sectors. Academia is to start with. The business sectors and many of the things that we see is actually as well fostering and supporting us in many of those aspects. Today, if you allow me as well, is in a nutshell, I will not go through it quickly, but just to give you a sense of many of those aspects today we've been to. The global overview of many of those expansion or spread of viruses and data breaches is actually the numbers doesn't lie. And this is what we've been always saying across all of this pandemic. Follow the science, follow the numbers. Where are those are actually started and how we could contain it. Billions of records have been actually breached. If we go back all the way to the past 10 years or even 5 years. And the attack and the infection basically rate, in less than seconds, we can infect a whole networks and even locations of many of those aspects. And the most important sectors that are affected today, the hospitals, the medical centers, the public institute, which is actually the core value of our lives here. Particularly in UAE, as His Excellencies mentioned, many of those focused areas of interest to us, from the space to the food security to the cyber security, all of them are actually important, and across all of them as well, yes, as my colleagues mentioned, cyber security will go through and across all of those aspects. And this is what we see today. many phishing attacks, many cyber attacks, data breaches are actually happening. Although here in UAE, yes, we are trying to be actually in the top rated entities and nations to not only in the Arab world, but also worldwide, and helping with your collaboration, with your help to raise us towards that real competitiveness of the UAE and building that hub. So yes, our infrastructure was almost ready, if I may say, for the digital transformation and working abroad when this pandemic hit. And thanks God, with the help, with the support of everybody actually here, we were able to successfully move towards that aspect. So digital transformation is the heart of our national strategy. And AI towards that, along with the big data analysis, is actually the main building blocks that we are today helping and trying to foster and help all of those sectors to actually jointly work with us in order to raise many of those aspects without compromising any of the securities, as well as the aspects we see today and the impacts we see today against the financial sector or the services or even the customers, and let alone the reputational aspects if there is any of such aspects, specifically in the media. So all of those impacts are actually affecting us, and together, only together, we can actually help and reach to many of those aspects. As our leadership always focuses in protecting this safe haven. To be a digital nation allows all of our borders to be actually accessible by anybody who wants to come and do businesses and really foster that area in order to create safe and resilient cyber infrastructure in the UAE, which enables this collaboration and many of the empowerment of our businesses and thriving towards that aspects. With this, I will actually stop my presentation there, and actually I really appreciate again being here. We will support and we will help in fostering many of those businesses and digital transformation, digital economy, and helping and looking forward actually to help and work with you together to build that safe cybersecurity across all of our nation and worldwide as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Al-Kuwaiti. Really an inspiring speech. I would like to take the opportunity to, I see a lot of questions and comments coming up in the live chat. We are going to have take some Q&A when we have, at the end of when we have time, but also don't worry, your questions will not go unanswered. We will contact and keep the contact with you via email in order to be able to continue the discussion even offline. So we are not taking questions between each speech, because that would make this program very difficult to manage, but we will try to answer some and pick the question at the end, and everybody will have the opportunity to continue the discussion. Now, for the next speech, we are moving from government, first of all, from the UAE to Italy. So we did that on purpose in the program to try to make this, a sort of a dialogue. And we also are moving from government to industry, because it's with great pleasure that I would like to leave the stand to the next speaker, who's Dr. Eleonora Farina. She is a representative of the Italian Association of the High Technology, the ICT companies. So I think that we are all, we want to see also the industrial side of this cybersecurity angle. So Dr. Farina, without further ado, the stand is yours. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you everybody for invitation. I also represent my president, Mr. Marco Gai, who will not be here today with us. I wanted to thank also the Embassy of Italy for the invitation and all the cooperation we are spending together in the last years. Thank you so much. What I want to say is that, as you know, Italy is going forward to big plans of digitizing industry and digitizing all public administration and health systems. So next years we'll have a very big effort in to modify our way of producing, a way of producing services and manufacturing goods. So since 2016, with the Industry 4.0 program, we have started a very huge engagement of our companies in transforming all our businesses. And first of all, we are doing it with the collaboration of the government. So it's a public-private partnership that we're putting together in order to support all our companies to move forward the digital transformation that will be at the heart of European and Italian programs, recovery funds in the next years. So the scenario is that we have a European approach, an Italian approach, moving forward to have a very competitive and technological side and point of view of our country and our way of doing. So what we are going to do together with our companies, we are put at the heart of our strategy, which is the support we can give to public administration and also to private companies in order to strengthen all the investments they are doing in different areas. So intelligent and efficient. We are doing this in cybersecurity, and we are doing this in machine learning and blockchain and those kind of all the sector or technology sector we have to explore in the next years. In cybersecurity area, we can see that during the pandemic crisis, smart working and working distance, and also all the business our companies are doing could be done by distance approach, using technology that allow us also to work together, not physically, but connected by line. So it means that our networks are stressed with a huge amount of data they're working on in Italy and in Europe. So all our plants are connected by a very, very strength data flows. And it means that we are experiencing a number of attacks that are hitting our companies. So the investment in cybersecurity have grown significantly in the last years, and especially during this moment. We believe that we have to be focused on that, because the 5G technology that we're spreading in the next year would also enlarge the areas of possible attack, possible data that will work on this. So it means that we have a very, very big areas of sensitive data that will work on our networks. And I want to say that we have also to deal with the need to foster the amount of technology that we can use and the data we can use. So we need to protect our citizens' data, our business data. So the point of deal with the regulations on the side in order to protect and to in order to allow our business to work on to use at the maximum the possibility that technology gives is a kind of a balance that we are dealing with. At a European level, there are so many strategies to enforce the legal framework in order to protect our companies and our citizens' data. And it means that we have also to deal with data protection, GDPR, and all those kind of regulations that are now at the core of our activities in order to allow our companies to have a very solid framework and to protect also the business data, commercial data that we are experiencing to flow to be at the heart of our next years. What we're going to do is to support with incentives and funds our companies in order to allow them to invest more. We are strengthening collaboration and cooperation with academic, with a network of research. And we also think that the cooperation with international actors in this field will be crucial in order to strengthen, to foster also the knowledge and to allow them to spread in a cooperative way. So in the next years, I think we have a strong cooperation also with the area of, in Dubai, we experienced this in 2020, we experienced how cooperation will be shown. We support also to strengthen the exchange of knowledge between the university and our businesses. And also we support any kind of investment that we moved and we can share together with in Dubai and in Italy as well. It means that we share the approach, and we share also the importance to collaborate and cooperate to strengthen investment and economic development. We have a lot of businesses in Italy that already have an experience in new technology and cybersecurity. So they are doing their investment that can be exceptional, perfect for defense, cybersecurity, oil, cybersecurity, and all the areas of investments that our country are working around together. So we are actually at disposal of massive Italy to foster in the next years to have a strong cooperation in Dubai.
Thank you very much for the Italian side of the industrial cooperation, and we will have the opportunity in the rest of the program to further go into the industrial cooperation capabilities. But now we start a sequence of 3 speakers that all of them are presenting the panorama of research on the UAE side and on the Italian side, and also some of the collaboration links that already exist today in the academic research. And well, the first one is myself, so I'm changing my hat now from being the host to being one of the presenter. So as I told you, my name is Ernesto Damiani, but I didn't add at the beginning that I am the Senior Director of the Robotics and Intelligent Systems Institute at Khalifa University. I'm also, well, I'm in a strange position because I'm also the president of the Italian Consortium for Inter-University Informatics, but that part of the consortium will be represented by the next speaker, Professor Martino. So I don't want to go into that. I will present my part, trying to show you something about the research that we are doing here in the UAE, and specifically the cybersecurity part of this research. So I have just a couple of slides to show, and sorry. I have to change my, okay, here we are. Okay, so I hope that you are seeing my screen. So I'm presenting the Robotics and Intelligent System Institute, and specifically the part of the cybersecurity research. Okay, so we have been working a lot on this structure of research inside Khalifa University. So let me just tell you a few things. We have 3 institutes within Khalifa University. 2 of them, the Petroleum Institute and the Masdar Institute, have to do with energy and with oil and gas and energy respectively. Within the Robotics and Intelligent Institutes, we are doing all the intelligent systems research. And I would like to show you these 3 pillars. So these 3 pillars that of our institute basically are the devices in the field. So we do robotics and intelligent systems in the field. We do intelligent machines. We do communication between the machines and the center and among the machines themselves. So basically, this is the part that it has heavily to do with cybersecurity, but also with advanced communication protocols, with spectrum management, with whatever has to do with advanced communications. This is our bailiwick in the second pillar. And the third pillar is the intelligent part. It's centralized, meaning, or at the periphery, at the edge. We run algorithms, intelligent data analytics algorithms, applied artificial intelligence that will basically provide our systems with the level of intelligence that is needed for complex applications. So this is what is our bailiwick. As an institute, we are actually a federation of research centers. Inside this institute, we have 6 research centers and 1 joint lab, which is close to my heart, which is the one that we have with the University of Milan and the Scuola Superiore Sant'Anna, which are 2 leading schools in Italy. But we also have strong links and cooperation with other strategic partners for the UAE, like KAIST University in South Korea, that have a permanent presence on our campus for the research. And here you see the list of the centers that we have. Now, I know I have only a few minutes, so I wanted to give you an idea of what is the joint research interest that we have together with our Italian partners and with the rest of the international arena that we already today are working on, and also with the let's say the help and the collaboration of other local research institutes that have a complementary mission to our own. My good friend, Dr. Taka Tiki, as I call him, will speak later about this. But this is an important initiative that we have been working on the general topic of the security for AI. So there's a lot of people working on AI for security, and they want to use AI to interpret what's going on, but also AI can be fooled, AI can be attacked. And this being able to prevent those attacks and to alleviate them is a tall order. And we are looking at that locally here in the UAE with TII, also with the collaboration of Italian University, the University Sapienza in Rome and the University of Milan, but also I am bringing the output of all this collaboration in the board of experts of ENISA, which is the European Information Security Agency. So we also have, let's say, an international, a wider international collaboration. So basically, I would like just to say one word. The AI is, really an important godsend for a lot of applications that it enables. It's enabling a lot of applications that we never dreamt of. Machines answering to us, machine executing our commands, machine interpreting scenes that they see, reacting intelligently. On the other hand, these machines are mostly trained using data. And this training is a very, very, very delicate moment in the life cycle. It's the moment when an attacker can build or can hide inside the machines some knowledge that actually is going to exploit later on for some malicious purposes. And so this is moving the traditional expertise of security experts like myself. I like to think I'm a security expert, is finding weaknesses in code. Now, the code is always the same. The problem is the training that the model has seen. And so this is something we are working on. How can we spot these weak points? How can we prevent someone from injecting weak points in the training of a machine, as we prevent people injecting weak points in the training of other people? So we are looking at the overall life cycle of intelligence systems, not only traditional AI, also any other type of intelligence system, to spot the data assets where you can hide the exploits. Basically, we do threat identification on this part. And this is part of the common work of ourselves with TII and with the Italian universities as well. And we have identified the property-driven approach in which we find out what are the consequences of each threat in terms of violations to the property that you would want the artificial intelligence system to give you. So we would like to have artificial intelligence systems that actually can guarantee certain properties. And I don't want to enter into the details. You see in the slide some of those properties. Well, how can we check out the properties in terms of the training of the intelligence system? This is what we are looking at. How can we verify that the system in the field will ensure those properties by sort of verifying the training that it has received, preventing the injection in those training of hostile content. So once we have found those techniques, we need to implement them. And this is another effort that, well, we are particularly keen on, and we will be working on with our Italian partners. Proof of concept implementation of security controls that can be deployed within intelligence systems. This is another line of research that we are working on as we speak, both in the UAE and in Italy together. Okay, so one final word. No today speech on technology can finish without having at least one mention of blockchain. So a very interesting application that we are looking at together with also companies in the UAE, is how to make sure that the data points that are used within the machine learning models can be sort of validated by consensus in a community. If you're thinking of scientific data, this is a very important requirement, for example, to make sure that the data that are used to compute an inference, to make a decision, have been basically accepted via consensus by a community. And we see a role for blockchain here. Not the role of the blockchain of the cryptocurrencies, but the blockchain as a consensus building infrastructure. And this is another topic that we are working on together with a number of international partners. So I hope that I gave you an idea of what is the academic research taking place together here in the UAE, together with our Italian partners. This is just a list of take-homes that I would like people to take home from my talk, but mostly I would like to convey the atmosphere of collaboration and of common purposes that we are sharing in this collaboration that we started with our Italian partners and colleagues. So thank you very much for listening to this part of the talk. And now I would like to thank everybody and to put back my hat as the workshop host. And so if I encourage everybody to continue asking questions in the chat, I will get back to you. We will get back to you during the Q&A session and later by email. Okay, so thank you very much. And now it's time to leave the stand to a colleague, an Italian colleague from Italy, who's bringing the Italian side of the academic research in cybersecurity. This is my good friend Luigi Martino, and I'm particularly happy to leave him the stand. Luigi, the stand is yours.
Thank you very much, Professor Damiani. Thank you very much, Ernesto. And good afternoon, everybody. It's my great honor to be here. Let me to share the screen with you. And because I have a presentation. Yep. Okay, then what said, it's my pleasure, an honor to be here today with you. And thank you for the organizer to organize this impressive and relevant meetings with this impressive panel about a relevant topic such as the new paradigm on cybersecurity. Then I would like to focalize my attention on the main core of this this webinar, how to enhance our partnership between our two countries. And then in order to address this main core, I will share with you some relevant projects which are carried out by the CINI National Laboratory, Cybersecurity National Laboratory, which is directed by Professor Paolo Prinetto. And then I will address these three main programs in order to give you the opportunity at the operational level to understand the Italian academic approach on cybersecurity, which is the offer of our Cybersecurity National Laboratory, and then to find at the end of the day some possible cooperation on this program and to share in an osmotic approach ideas and research and so on. Then, but also I'm happy to be here because with the University of Florence and the Department of Political Science, we have a cooperative research program with the TII on the technology and policy intersection. Then the title of this project is the intersection between technology and policy on cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, autonomous vehicles. And then I'm very happy to be here because I said that the next speaker will be Tiki, a common friend of us, and so on. Then I will address in a few minutes the main programs which are carried out by the Cybersecurity Laboratory, National Laboratory. Then the first program is cyber readiness. And cyber readiness is a project which the main aim is to assess the human factor on cyber security. the human behavior on cyberspace, because as you know, the main impact on cyber security issues, it's related to the human implication, not only the technological issues. And then these cyber readiness programs allow us to achieve an assessment, to conduct the assessment on the human behavior with an adaptive survey, which is based on a multidisciplinary approach, which combine, for instance, qualitative and quantitative approach. And then with this survey, we are able, with the cyber readiness, to measure, to evaluate the human factor incidents, and to release, at the end of the evaluation, release recommendations on policies and remediations procedures. Then in order to create and to offer targeted awareness and training programs, then cyber readiness is a survey that allows you to evaluate your organization, but not your organization, but also your human readiness in your organization. The second program that we will launch in coming days is the Cybersecurity Innovation Hub. This Innovation Hub, these main objectives and provisions. In particular, the Innovation Hub will be a national hub for startups, spin-off, and innovative small and medium enterprises in the field of cybersecurity. Then the main aim of the hub is to map the Italian cybersecurity ecosystem and to provide this map to the stakeholders, different stakeholders at private and political or public level, to enhance the Italian research and development projects, but also to provide assistance for the internationalization of the innovative research projects. And then here we can find a common approach, and then maybe we can find a cooperative projects at international level. Then also the Cybersecurity Innovation Hub provide training and support to accelerate innovative ideas, in particular in the cybersecurity field, but not only at innovative at large. And then, but the main aim of our Cybersecurity Innovation Hub is to create a direct matchmaking between offer and demand on cybersecurity, because as you know, we have a high level of demand of cybersecurity services and products, but we don't have a map able to map the offer at Italian level, at the Italian cybersecurity ecosystem. And then the Cyber Innovation Hub that we will launch this hub in the coming days will provide these services, because it's included in the portfolio of the cybersecurity laboratory. Then, but I would like to finish my presentation with a particular product, but a particular offer of the Cybersecurity National Lab, which is a cyber challenge. Because cyber challenge is a best practice at international level, and it's provided by our national laboratory. And then the main aim of the cyber challenge, which is the first Italian training program in cybersecurity for high school and undergraduate students. Then as I said before, the main aim is to create a community of cyber defenders by investing in young talents at Italian level. But in particular, the main aim of the cyber challenge is to resolve the skill shortage that we have at international level about cybersecurity professionals and so on. And then cyber challenge with a proactive approach, hands-on approach, will try to resolve this problem. Then the cyber challenge is organized by the CINI, the Cybersecurity National Lab, and the reference person is Professor Paolo Plinetto. But we received the support of the Italian presidency of the Council of the Minister, in particular our intelligence services, and then by the Minister of Defense, because the main aim is to create an ecosystem, as we said in Italy, sistema paese, in order to address this topic with a cooperative approach between academia, institutions, and also with the private sector. Then the main approach of the cyber challenge is to address and to solve problems with a gamification approach, gaming approach, then competitions in virtual arenas with a different scenario, but the approach is based on a multidisciplinary approach, then which combines science, mathematics, technology, engineering, and I hope that as soon as possible we might include maybe also policy-oriented issues, in particular related to military implication of cybersecurity, national security implications, attribution implications, and so on. Then, but I hope that as soon as possible, it's possible to include also this field. And then, but here it's very important to stress that the cyber challenge is based on a hands-on approach, time-building approach, and then in order to solve problems with simulations and virtual arenas. And our main more portfolio, it's based on these pillars. In particular, we have models on introduction on cybersecurity, attacks and defense, simulation, and cryptography, hardware security, security software, web security, ethics, and soft skill, because the main aim is to create ethical hacking or ethical hackers to solve this problem with the appropriate ethical background. And then this is the main aim of a cyber challenge. These are a few numbers, and then I will conclude my intervention, my speech. These are few numbers. Then we involved in the last edition 4,452 people at Italian level. We involved 27 universities, 114 high schools students, and 1 military academics. Then here you can find some number related to the cyber challenge. And then I hope that we have the opportunity to start our cooperation, maybe with between our laboratory, national laboratory, with other university in the UAE, for instance, with the Khalifa University and so on, to try to test also cyber challenge in the UAE, maybe in a bilateral level. Then thank you for your attention, and then I'm very happy to respond and your doubts. If you have doubts and questions, please send me an email, and I will be more than happy to respond to your question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Luigi. And of course, I just mentioned that, of course, we've been already discussing bilaterally with the several UAE universities the interest in the cyber challenge and how can we work together to have similar initiatives here in the UAE as well. So I think that this is a dream that will hopefully become a reality. Now, well, we are going to end these 3 speeches about the research side, going back to the UAE. We have been mentioning him a couple of times already. So I would like to leave immediately the standard to Dr. Takar from TII. Tiki, thank you very much for joining us today, and the stand is yours.
Doctor, I think you're muted. If you can unmute yourself.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for the introduction and also for inviting me to speak here, and thanks to the ambassador for having me on the forum as well. It's good to be with our friends and His Excellency Mohammed Al Kuwaiti. It's good to see all of you guys here and talking about a topic that is very keen to my heart as well. I'm going to go and share, put my slides on and share with you guys. Just give me a minute. You should be able to see my slides. Are you able to see the slides? No? Sorry, just.
Yeah, we can see the slides. Go ahead.
Okay, great. I'm going to go full screen. So I'm the Chief Research Officer at, Chief Research Officer at the Technology Innovation Institute here, running Secure Systems Research Center. And I'm going to give you a little bit of background on what Technology Innovation Institute is, background on the secure systems, and then what are the roles we play and some of the exciting research we're doing with some of our colleagues here. So who are we? We're about, a year-old institute. It was established last year, and what a year it's been with all the COVID issues and such. But we are now up and running. We are about 150 people already in place. We have an institute that is reporting to the Abu Dhabi Advanced Research Council. And so what does that mean? It really means is that the Abu Dhabi Research Council has created some areas of research that has been blessed by them. And all the research into those areas will be funded through the TII. And so what you're going to see here is what those areas are and what we're trying to do. So in terms of our objectives, we want the brightest people to come and solve, really exciting problems to really make life better for people. And that's as simple as it is. And in doing so, we want to not only become a leading institute in UAE, but be recognized worldwide as well. To do that, we've selected, these 7 areas of research. That includes, emerging areas such as quantum computing, autonomous robotics, cryptography, advanced materials, digital security, and then directed energy and secure systems. So these are kind of the areas that the TII is leading. And when we say leading, we're not only just leading as a kind of a program managers, we're actually doing research in these areas. And where research is in collaboration with Khalifa University, for example, and lots of other universities that you'll see as I talk about. So a little bit about secure systems. What is secure systems about? Secure systems is about really driving end-to-end security and resilience in cyber, physical, and autonomous systems. Those are too many words. And so what does those words mean? When we look at today at smart cities, and I think one of our guests here, Noah, talked about what Dubai future is going to look like. It's all about physical connected to digital, sensors everywhere connected to digital backbone, continuously monitoring and driving the systems, whether it's the traffic light, whether it's managing the airport, whether it's managing the buses, whether managing the the autonomous cars or drones. And the other piece is that these systems are going to be autonomous. They cannot be managed by human beings because the amount of connectivity to the physical will far exceed anything that we know about. And so when you take those two things, and this is what is going to be the impediment of getting in the way of making this thing happen? We all want to see this, cars that drive autonomously, things that function autonomously, and cities like Dubai and Abu Dhabi, work autonomously. The security infrastructure, the security of this infrastructure will be the biggest threat to its impediment of happening. The state, it could be cyber, it could be malicious, or it could be state driven, so you could bring down the entire countries with this class of systems. So what we're trying to do here is really take a a set of technologies that we are very familiar with: hardware hardening, software hardening, things such as impacting the operating system, the cloud, the application, and then maintaining system integrity and preventing data exfiltration. So malware getting into a device and sending the data out to a different place without the knowledge of the person or the system. Communication protocols. These are all the tool sets that we have. And then if we look at the infrastructure, and the pieces in the infrastructures are the autonomous vehicles, the phones, the cloud infrastructure, and the communication systems that connect the two things together. And our goal is to develop research to really make these cyber physical and autonomous systems safe. And the particular area that I want to kind of just give you a glimpse of is really secure autonomous computing. And so what is secure autonomous computing? Well, you've heard about each of the drones, for example, could be autonomous drones. That means that they can navigate autonomously.
Hello, I think that we may have some audio problems. Can you hear me anyway? Or is it just me?
We can hear you, but I think we lost Shrikant for a while. I think completely disconnected even.
Yeah, now he's disconnected. There must have been a problem in. So we are trying to reconnect at the moment, but I'm sorry about this. Let's see if it can be recovered. Hello?
No.
Okay, so unfortunately we have this problem. I think that the best thing we can do now is to check out with him what is the problem in the audio, and I think that we can move forward and to basically start his presentation again, unless he's ready to rejoin right now. Are you there, Tiki? But unfortunately, you're broken. You come across as broken, so I don't. The quality of the link is not good enough. So could you disconnect and reconnect? Okay, thank you very much for that. So let's wait for 1 second to see whether we can. Sorry, this is the inconvenience of the cyber pandemics, as was Dr. Al-Kuwaiti told us that this is exactly one of the typical effects of the cyber pandemics, that we have spent a lot of time by asking each other if you can hear me or not, and there's a lot of if I think that we otherwise, if the connection cannot be restored quickly, I think that in the interest of time, we can move on, and then we can resume as soon as.
Hi, can you hear me?
Okay, you're back. So thank you very much. Please go.
Yeah, sorry, sorry for the trouble. I've also switched off the video. Maybe the bandwidth will be better without the video. So let's see. Just give me a minute and I'll restart the stuff.
Wonderful. It shows it's all online or live, and no recordings. So.
The host says disable participant screen sharing. Can you enable me, please? Webinar support. Can you make me a co-host?
A co-host now, so please go ahead.
Yeah, okay. I think she has enabled me. Okay, so I don't know where you lost me, but I was just starting to talk about this secure autonomous computing. And let's make sure you can see the slides.
Yeah, we're good.
We can, go ahead.
Okay, so what we are talking about is really a system where not only the individual elements are autonomous, but the the entire system is autonomous. As we talked about earlier, we want the system to basically deploy this fleet of drones, deploy, whether it's connected to, other drones or ground drones, etc. But we want the whole thing to run autonomously. So where are the kind of things this thing can be applied? So for example, when we had that, in a pandemic monitoring, compliance monitoring, there isn't enough police force or civilian force to walk around everywhere to make sure people are wearing masks or they're not congregating, etc. But this fleet can be operating 7/24 by a computer system, and the computer system can learn in the back end where to send, where the trouble is, where to send the drones. And then the system could basically alert the authorities to take appropriate action. The other example is, for example, when we have, for example, that horrible blast in Beirut that knocked out all of its infrastructure. We want to have the emergency response system be able to connect to the, to see what's going on, as well as being able to have the, people with their loved ones being able to connect back into the, the phone. So the infrastructure appears on the fly, and and provides the coverage that was lost through the fixed infrastructure being blown away. So it is a very, very compelling use cases that you can see in this kind of environment. And just going to see on the, and I'm not going to go into the details here, but even if you take something like this as a use case, the amount of issues in this kind of use case is huge, and the amount of attacks that can be mounted either on the device or the autonomous device or the autonomous system that is managing these things are huge. So you could also have an alien drones, for example, or alien autonomous vehicle participate in there without the other drones knowing what's going on. So this is a big challenge that we are trying to take on and solve. And to solve this challenge, really we have a large set of partnerships here, in terms of the universities. Clearly, Khalifa is our core partner here. We have a number of programs, as you heard Professor Ernesto talk about, from looking at the new ways of solving, how do you solve security in a very constrained, power environment of the drones, to the things such as data exfiltration, which Professor Ernesto himself is learning that program, to machine learning poisoning, which we are doing with some of our, Professor Ernesto and the Italian friends here. And so this is, really exciting for us, to have this partnership, because, we want to make sure we bring the best of the world together. And as you can see, not only we have UAE, we have US, we have Finland, Swiss, and Italian teams working with us. And then, as you can see, some of our partners here, are Khalifa, Georgia Tech, Purdue University, very well-known places, Tampere, some of the Swiss, Applied Institute of Sciences and Arts, and, the Bologna and the Modena universities in Italy as well. So we're very excited. We really, want to move forward. And I think with a couple of names missing here, like Rome and Milan are missing, and they're also our key partners as well. So there's a lot of things going on dynamically in terms of helping us solve this problem. But it's a very exciting time for us, to see how we're going to solve some of this, grand challenges. And that's, and as, this is our dream of His Excellency Faisal, is to have research we do really be applied to solve some problems in UAE and worldwide. How can you apply this research to solve some really, interesting problems for our future? So thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm done.
Thank you very much, Tiki. I was impressed myself by the program. I'm sure you are getting a lot of questions in the Q&A. So again, I would like to confirm to people that we are trying to answer in the chat. We will also try to have a short Q&A session at the end, but don't worry, you will be in touch with us even via email later on. We will come back to you about your questions. Now it's time for, I don't know how to call it, a digital twin type of speech, because we have, well, first of all, we have an institution which is DESC, which is a very important institution in the UAE security landscape, and also we go way back with the desk for collaboration, so I'm particularly happy to have them here in this webinar. And this speech will see jointly Dr. Al-Zaruni, who's basically, thank you very much for joining us, and Salvatore Fiorillo, which as a senior consultant has worked a lot on the cybersecurity duties within DESC. So I think that you are sharing, right, the presentation. Is this correct?
Yes.
So I leave the stand to Dr. Al-Zaruni. Thank you again, and of course you will pass yourself then the relay to Salvatore. Thank you again.
Thank you, Doctor, for having us. And I will just start by saying that in Dubai and in the UAE in general, we are a culture of collaboration. We always love to learn from other people's, and we always collaborate on projects. And that includes, and is not limited to, cybersecurity. When His Excellency Ammar Al-Alama was assigned to be the AI minister, one of the first things we did is sit with him and try to come up with a set of ethics as well for AI. So in Dubai, and through Dubai Smart Government and Smart Dubai in particular, we created a committee where we can actually not only look at what AI can solve for us, but also what AI can do, which is ethical, and control what is unethical in AI as well. Because with great power and with great machine language capabilities, there comes a degree of responsibility that has to be associated with it, not to cause harm, and also to regulate the space as well. So Dubai Electronic Security Center was launched by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed in 2014 with the aim to protect Dubai entities. And the first goal was actually started 2 years before that, in 2012, with the creation of something called the Information Security Regulation. The aim for that was to raise the level of competency within the government departments in Dubai into a level where everyone can speak the same language, everyone has the same standards in place, and everyone is enlightened by at least the basics that they should have in capability in cybersecurity, as well as in governance within their departments. And in 2020, we have launched also what is called the Dubai Cyber Index, which is actually a tool for leaders and decision makers to actually have an instant snapshot of the situation of not only the cyber systems, but the cyber physical systems, and the uptime, availability, and security of every aspect of those systems, especially critical systems that the Dubai government depends on for the daily life of its citizens and enablement of their e-services. I would like to also introduce my colleague now, Salvatore. He will talk more about the Dubai cybersecurity initiatives, as well as dig deeper a little bit of what we do when it comes to artificial intelligence. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Mr. Salvatore, who is my friend and colleague at DESC.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, Salvatore.
Okay. So welcome to His Excellency Mohammed Al-Kuwaiti and His Excellency Nicola Lerner and all the estimated participants. I will give you a further introduction on what we are doing at DESC, who we are, and then we will share some challenge that we think we can cooperate. So DESC, with our cyber intelligence lab, we are very active in deploying resources for researches in cryptography, AI, machine learning, and cognitive security. And as DESC, we also provide funds and support for researchers. And just lately, I think this year, we got our first patent for secure wireless communications with the University of Dubai. Dubai, we set our strategy, cybersecurity strategy, on 2017, and was set by His Highness. And DESC is the governing and operating arm of Dubai cybersecurity strategy. And the 5 pillars are the cybersecurity, cyber smart society, innovation, cyber resilience, and national and international collaborations. We have a special strategy for artificial intelligence. Basically, there is the National Artificial Intelligence Strategy 2031 that was launched on October 2017. UAE announced its first ever Minister of AI in October 2017, and on 2018, UAE and AI Council was established in order to roll out the national strategy. Besides other objectives, we have the one to make the UAE the first in the field of AI investments, including cybersecurity, and create a new vital market with high economy value. And DESC is fully aligned with the NICE, and we adopt AI for defensive measures. Let's talk quickly about defensive measures. So, as you know, cybersecurity incidents and crimes are on the rise. And on the same time, the role of AI and machine learning to predict, to protect and respond is increasing too. So based on some statistics by some Forbes or other company too, we have 69% of the CEO believing that AI will be required to respond to cyber attacks, and 80% of the telco believing that AI will play a vital role on cybersecurity. But I think Ernesto Damiani told before, Professor Ernesto Damiani told before, I don't remember where else, AI algorithms can be targeted too, so we need to be aware of that and be cautious on this side too. AI and machine learning are empowering today DESC defensive measures. This is the use of AI mainly in network and data security, and is for so far less on IoT security, maybe making IoT the weakest link at the moment. Also, AI is used more for detection than prediction and response. And in DESC, we aim to improve prediction by 50% in 12 months. It's a very ambitious target, but we think we can do. The open and common challenges that we have are mainly based on the fact that the rapid advance in AI and machine learning are changing a lot, and not only in cybersecurity, the arena and actors that are involved in this game. Besides other things, we are focusing on 4 main areas that are artificial intelligence, autonomous machines, big data, and system resiliency. I think the speaker before me, Dr. Marwan, was exactly speaking about system resiliency. The open challenge that we have now is about AI and singularity. We are used to think that singularity will be a point where machine will reach human in its capability. But now the trend is that humans are going to reach machine capabilities. See the Neuralink from Elon Musk. But this also means that we have to add human system in the system to protect. A further challenge is integrity of autonomous vehicles and robots. So the rise of autonomous vehicles and robots is, there is a big pervasiveness of these two, let's say, entities. And they are prone to attack also from intelligent deceivers that could be a big challenge for human safety and security. DESC has been, I think, the first to publish the autonomous vehicle security policy on 2018. A further challenge that we have is accumulation of big data and the processing power. So if data is the new oil, the processing power is its engine. The pervasiveness of data collectors, you know, like Facebook, Google, and so forth, are held by few organizations that pose a serious threat to economy and integrity of state nation. We have seen something already with Project Libra, with the Bitcoin fluctuation of value, and with Cambridge Analytica. But also there is another point that maybe we are not ready or not fully aware that the production and dissemination of information with autonomous and intelligent systems can lead to unexpected problems. And we already know that AI has already proved to be able to create and manage information by itself. The last one is the system resiliency. We all remember the attack on Estonia and what happened to the country for around 25 days. But we should not fear about about voluntary attacks, but also about spontaneous failure of systems. And if these systems and this failure are coordinated by wrong AI, this can be a very big disaster. And probably this makes us to think that probably a new way to interconnect should be explored. Later on, in a near future, battles will be fought completely by AI and at any latitude. So it is part of desk job to keep all these systems safe and sound, and we strive to reach these results. Finally, we are open for a collaboration. Dubai is the natural incubator and accelerator for startups, future forward project researchers, people looking for patents, innovation plans, challenging ideas. Please contact Dr. Marwan or myself if you need any information. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Salvatore. Thank you also to Dr. Moani. We are basically already, collaborating through sending some of our best alumni working for desk, but I think that today a lot of collaboration opportunities are emerging and topics that can be of common interest in the future. So thank you also for highlighting those collaboration opportunities in your speech. Now I think that we ended the part of the program, the technical part of the program with this speech, and we started with Dr. Al-Kuwaiti, who is basically the coordinator of the cybersecurity effort for the UAE government. So now we are moving to the Italian counterpart, which is basically the Professor Roberto Baldoni, and it's really a pleasure for me to introduce him, because we call him professor because in his former life he used to be a colleague at the University of Rome, and also he was instrumental in the promotion of the Italian National Lab of Cybersecurity that was presented before by Luigi. But these days he is the Deputy Director of the Department of Information Security under the presidency of the Council of Ministers in Italy. So I think it's the ideal counterpart to end the official program. And Roberto, I hope you are connected and you are hearing well. Are you there? Wonderful. So I hear a little bit of echo.
Yes, I am hearing you, Ernesto.
Wonderful. And also I can see you very well. So it's my pleasure to, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ernesto. And let me say that listening to the conversation in the last 20 minutes, this reminds me the nice old time when I was at the head of the National Cybersecurity Laboratory in Italy and also at Sapienza University. So 3 years ago, actually, almost 3 years ago, I changed my job. I was appointed by the Prime Minister in order to organize the national cybersecurity architecture for Italy. So it's a kind of cyber defense for the Italian system. And so what I will go to tell you today, and I'm very happy actually that I had the authorization to talk just yesterday, and I informed very happily the ambassador Nicola Lerner that I had the chance to talk here. Because it's always, from my perspective, an important point when I am able to deliver some speech where I try to make the point of the process that we are following in Italy for making our nation more resilient. So from this perspective, we start considering the fact that we live in a digitalization process that are speeding up at an unplanned, I would say, also way. And from this perspective, we all know that technology is a strange thing because, it's a double-edged sword in the sense that on one hand, you have many opportunities that, of course, every nation wants to pick up. But on the other hand, you have also many issues of security behind that could backfire your system at a certain given point. So what we did in Italy was to try to start thinking and reasoning about the essential function and services of a nation, considering the fact that we consider these as digital already. And actually, we concentrate ourselves on some specific sector and try to figure out which are the example of such essential function of services. And we realized that many of them are actually impacting our national security. This was a dialogue that we started 4 years ago. And that is now getting to an execution phase with the National Security Perimeter Law for Cyber that I will go to tell you in a few moments. So, but if you look at, for example, a place like Italy, and you realize that the public debt management is completely digitalized, of course, you understand how sensible this would be for our national security. And at the same time, the fact that it's digitalized, this means that it is prone to cyber attack, no matter what. So the basic idea is try to figure out how we can make an efficient defense of our system. We are being well aware of the fact that we cannot avoid all possible attack. So on one end, we need to put prevention measure, and on the other end, we need to set up a specific process which is able to get to the response of the state when you are in trouble because attacked by specific entities. So from this perspective, we started thinking about the notion of what could be a cyber resilient nation. And of course, on one end, putting prevention measures that can be of several different types. I mean, prevention measure can be research and development, can be awareness, can be education, can be security measures, of course, can be, many different types and very, let's say, multi multi-axis in the sense that they can be of very different nature. Then detection, which means be as fast as possible to recognize that an attack is coming, and fast specifically if the attack is getting through an ICT asset that run an essential function or service of the state. Then, of course, you need an alerting procedure that has to be very, let's say, well exercised and efficient. And as I said before, you could also arrive to a response to the attack that can take different mechanism and option. And at the same time, we should start also the recovery of the system that that have been attacked. So if you are able to make this cycle, let's say, giving a positive feedback, attacking one step after the other, we will be able to build a cyber resilient nation. Again, with being well aware of the fact that there will be attack. So no question about it. We need to prevent as much as we can, but at a certain time we need to alert, respond, and recover. Okay, now I don't have here, can we do the animation here of this? Okay, so unfortunately I don't have the, let's say, the animation for this. And of course, if you look at this like that, it can be very complex. I will try to make, starting from the center, and you see DIS, the organization to which I belong, is actually the cybersecurity agency, I would say, for Italy. And inside DIS, you have the national CSIRT, and there is this NSC, that in Italian means Nucleo Sicurezza Cibernetica, in English can be translated as Cybersecurity Management Board, which is actually an organization internal to DIS that includes, you see, several members from intel agencies to Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Justice. So the core of the national security of Italy. And inside the Cybersecurity Management Board, we receive notification about the attack, and we talk with the political counterpart. In Italy, you can see at the top that our commander-in-chief for cyber defense is the Prime Minister, together with the 5 most prominent ministers for cybersecurity. So one for the security of the Republic. So from this perspective, the role that I have now here in Italy as president of this Cybersecurity Management Board is to, on one hand, talk with the technical institution and organization that we have in Italy, so CSIRT, or the Postal Police, which is the law enforcement agency for cybercrime, or the Ministry of Defense with all the capability that they have in the cyberspace, and to analyze the impact of a possible attack, and then to talk to the Prime Minister in order to define which are the options that we have. And then once that the political layer decide which option we will go to select to respond, it's the task of the National Cybersecurity Management Board to execute the response. That, of course, can include interaction with several different players inside the Italian territory. And on the other hand, I can give you a news that appeared on the newspaper yesterday. The Cybersecurity Management Board is now part of a European network of, let's say, large-scale crisis management. So it will talk with our counterpart in France, in Germany, in order to define a layer that is precisely between the political layer and the technical layer in order to manage the crisis. So you see that the legislation background that we have for building all this architecture that I would say is like a star graph. So it's very clear who is at the center, and in any of the legislation that we defined in the last 4 years, we say that DIS has a kind of enforced coordination, which means that you know, we are at the center of the star. Especially in case of crisis, we coordinate all the other actors. And anyone that work in the cybersecurity area, especially with responsibility in domestic affairs, knows quite well how is difficult the issue of coordination, because cybersecurity is an horizontal issue. So anyone has, I mean, cyber impact any of the actors that you see there, and of course the coordination becomes that very difficult job that usually no one wants to do. That's why it's important to have clear legislation landscape that give you, that empower you with the possibility to execute the coordination in an efficient way. So on the right side, you see the 4 basic law, the National Cyber Security Architecture that was defined in 2017. Then it started actually when I was appointed by the Prime Minister to carry out this job, so beginning 2018. Then the NIS directive from European Union that has been received by the Italian legislation in June 2018. Then the most important pillar that we are building at the moment, I actually just rushed from another meeting on what you see on the bottom, which is actually the National Security Perimeter Law for Cyber. So actually, in this perimeter, we want to put all the ICT assets that underpin essential function or services of the state. And on this ICT asset, we want to put a specific security measure, having specific stringent incident notification, and also having an ICT procurement screening. So a kind of technology screening on specific devices that are considered high risk. This is a law that I am very proud to have led the working group that defined this in 2019. And then now I am at the end of the implementation of the 5 executive decree that will make the national security perimeter a reality probably around March 2021. So just to give you an idea of what national security perimeter for cyber is. So I already mentioned about the asset ICT that underpin the essential functional services of the state. So actually in the law we define two basic things. One is the cyber attack prevention with security measure, technology screening, inspection and fines. Just to give you an idea, we are building an organization which is called CVCN that you see in the box technology screen that will be established at the Ministry of Economic Development, where there will be this sensible task of screening of specific devices. And we hope by the end of the year that everything has been set and we can start working at the beginning 2021. The second part is cyber attack detection and response. I already mentioned the incident notification. Aggressive means 1 hour for notification for specific, of course, an incident that happened within the ICT asset that has been listed. Aggressive means again 1 hour for specific incident, and then 6 hours for other kind of incident. And all this is this flow of communication goes to the CSIRT. Then we have what by the press has been renamed as the red button of the Prime Minister, which is the power of the Prime Minister to deactivate devices of software when there is a severe and imminent risk to national security. Of course, devices and software that are inside the ICT asset. And we are now defining the procedure in order that this will be done when the Prime Minister decides to do that. So it's a very long work path that we started actually 1 year and a half ago. I remember my first presentation on the perimeter was at the Italian Conference of Cybersecurity, ITASEC, in February 2019. It was the first public, let's say, speech from my side on what we were building. Now, after 7 months, we had the law, and now we are in the phase of building and the execution of the law. I want also to mention that the Cybersecurity Management Board that as a Deputy Director for Cybersecurity at DIS, I have the honor to chair, has not only this, let's say, operative aspect of defining prevention measures and also answering to specific attack, replying to specific attack, but has also the mission to promote the Italian ecosystem of cybersecurity. And this is why for me is extremely important to be here and happy to explain what we did. And of course, the perimeter law for us is the first step in order to reason about digital sovereignty and let's say ICT strategic autonomy on ICT as a nation. And we do that at the European level together with our other member states, but we started this reasoning in Italy since a couple of years from now. So actually, we believe that the cooperation with other countries, the fact that you know, we want to try to figure out what can be the tool in cyber where we want to be independent with respect to others' influences can be something that can be also of value for other countries. And that's why we want to start a dialogue with you know, anyone that want to join us in this process. For all this initiative, of course, I am strongly in touch with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation that I'm thanking here because they are absolutely helping us, and this is one of the occasions that I have been happy to use in order to send our messages. So thank you very much, Ernesto. I think that that's it, and you know, I am here for any question or to conclude the seminar.
Thank you very much. I think that at the moment we have just a few minutes, so unfortunately we will not be able to take all or even a small number of the questions that we had in the Q&A. But what I would want to do is just a very brief I'll pick a couple of them up and just to share them with the panelists if anyone wants to answer online. But of course, everybody will send questions. Please, we will be back to you. We know who you are because you registered. So it's not a cybersecurity identification, but we know who you are. So we will be back to you with, let's say, custom answers. There is one question that was posed, by the way, by a UAE well-known researcher in quantum, which is that he didn't hear the word post-quantum in these presentations. Is the readiness for post-quantum, they say the evolution in the cryptography security layer that we are using today for a number of applications, does it play a role in the cybersecurity readiness? Is this a topic that is also of interest for collaboration? This is basically the question. So of course I have an answer myself, but if anyone wants to comment on the post-quantum journey and whether this is relevant for cybersecurity preparedness, according to the panelists. Anyone?
Yes, this is very relevant post-quantum computing. We have two research centers at the TII. One is the Cryptographic Research Center that is building cryptographically the algorithms, quantum, post-quantum proof algorithms as such. So that's one of the things that they are working on. And clearly we have the Quantum Computing Center, which is actually building ways to actually go and test your algorithms to make sure that they are quantum, that you can build those algorithms for quantum computing. So yes, very relevant.
Yeah, I don't want to comment further on the academic side. We share this notion. This is a very important area for academic research and collaboration. What is the point of view of the government side panelists? Is this, I mean, we all know that quantum preparedness has been discussed in reports and has been discussed at the international level. Do you see it on the roadmap of this cybersecurity preparedness agenda?
If I can take the floor, so from my perspective, is definitely within our agenda. So I would like also to say, but of course I think every one of us knows that we are talking a lot about 5G right now in Europe and in Italy specifically. Of course, 5G is what I call the appetizer of what will happen in the close future, considering the issue of artificial intelligence. I mean, the challenge that AI pose to each of us, IoT and all the other nice technology. I was listening before to autonomous driving. And definitely let's say, anticipating the fact that there could be somewhere in the world a quantum computers, and so start proposing, you know, specific cryptographic scheme that can survive or at least resist to such a computational power, for us is definitely a priority.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we can have one other question picked from the Q&A, and then we'll come close to the, I will give the floor back to the ambassador for closing, closing the program. So the other question is about the, let's say, I'm actually merging two questions that are both of them interesting and come from practitioners in the area. The interaction between physical attacks and cyber attacks, which is something that we witnessed, for example, yesterday in the attack at the U.S. hospitals that was well on the media all over the world. So this is a notion of coordination in attack, of course, in threat identification, and also coordination in answers. How do you see this? I mean, emerging type of mixed threats? Are they? What is your point of view on how we can react to using cyber to facilitate attacks in the physical world, and vice versa, using an attack in the physical world to enable a cyber attack?
If I may, I can take this question from the Dubai perspective. I touched upon Dubai Cyber Index earlier in my talk, and just want to emphasize that actually it is, as I said before, it is not only focused on cybersecurity, but also cyber physical systems and the uptime and availability, and also the accuracy of information. So the CIA pillars in cybersecurity, by having a really simplistic, very high level view, but instant view for the decision makers, we can actually give them a good battlefield or good, viewpoint for what is happening, especially in a coordinated kind of attack. You don't want the country or the city to go through a crisis, and then you have to waste a lot of time and effort trying to find out who got affected, where it was affected, what was, the thing that got affected. And within the COVID pandemic, we have actually stepped up those kind of efforts just to speed up how much government departments are connected into this kind of command SOC, which we call the Dubai Cyber Index. But I think there are similar efforts, and His Excellency Mohammed Al-Kuwaiti has also shared his view on how resilient we have to be on cybersecurity. And this is continuously we are digitizing, and I think right now is with the COVID situation, we have to step up really our defenses.
If I may add one point to Dr. Marwan in that perspective. Yes, from a national level and a federal perspective, there are a couple of initiatives have already actually been started. One is the National Cybersecurity Operations Center, which is a sectorial connected SOCs from all of the different various sectors, be it energy and gas, be it telecoms, be it health, be it education. Each one of those sectors have their own cybersecurity SOC, which actually connects all of their internal type of aspects. So collecting that, and then as well connecting all of those SOCs to one big national cybersecurity operation center will actually gives this situation awareness of various attacks, and will be actually even connected to a cyber range, which allows many of the cyber exercises and cyber training, as well as phishing and vishing, and many of the other simulated attacks that could be actually fulfilled and then cascaded towards any of those sectorial entities. That's an initiative already in place, and that's, alhamdulillah, already been done in some sectors in that aspects, with the coordination with DISC and the team in Dubai, as well as ADA in Abu Dhabi. So that's one part of that. Then there is the most important point, which we cannot sustain any loss or discontinuity of our business. We have to continue our business regardless of the cyber attacks that happens. we saw the impact of the pandemic we have here. And because of this, we've been thinking of the cyber resiliencies more than maybe 5 years ago, and we have built systems to be actually up to that cyber resiliency, which combines both the business continuity as well as the cyber security, with all of the pillars that allows many of that aspects to continue. And yes, there is a resiliency model we use today, similar to the DISC scoring cards, as well as the overall indicators of many of those entities. So that resiliency model tells us how each one of those entities, minister, federal type of level, is actually able to sustain an attack or basically to continue its service if it came under such attacks. So from a federal level, those are the overall look that we are actually already working in collaboration with many of the national as well as private sectors as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now I would like to ask Roberto Valdonis, he also has a final remark to make, some final remarks before we will let the ambassador end the session.
No, I think that, any country is, struggling with this cyber threat. I think another important issue that for us is very important is understanding, and has been noted before, the hybridness sometimes of the threat. Because the threat is not only cyber is a part, it can be on several fronts. And handling such a heterogeneous threat that can be economic, can be of other aspect, is one of the main, let's say, tasks that, for example, inside DIS, we are also looking at how to make, how to make connection, how to fuse information between very different sectors, and trying to figure out what could be the relation between different or at least apparently different phenomena.
Thank you very much, Roberto. So now we are getting to the closing of this session. I would like to thank everybody, myself, before leaving the floor to the ambassador. Thank you. I enjoyed myself listening to all these talks, and I hope you also enjoyed yourself. And I also want to thank the attendees who were so basically lively, asking questions in the chat. As once again, you won't be forgotten. We will be back to you individually. So I think that we are getting close to the end. If there are no other remarks regarding the Q&A session, I would like to leave the stand for the closing remarks to Dr. Nicola Lehner, the ambassador of the Republic of Italy. So the stand, ambassador, the stand is yours.
Thank you so much, Professor. Just a few words to thank everybody for being here, for attending this event. I think, it's been quite fruitful. We had a very thorough exchange of information about which is the institutional response to the challenge, institutional organizations, and the state of the research and the, let's say, industrial preparedness to face this and cope with this challenge. So I think that our objective, the objective of this webinar has been attained. The objective was to understand which are the opportunities of cooperation. And the next step, as I was mentioning, is to have a physical, let's say, event, a face-to-face event, hopefully early next year, in which to involve all the actors from both sides. So thank you so much. I think cyber is, and stays as a main sector of cooperation for our countries. The next webinar will be on space, as I was saying, next week, October the 8th, 11 a.m. UA time, 9 a.m. Italian time. We will have the chance to have the chairwoman of the UAE Space Agency, Her Excellency Sara Damiani, and the chairman of the Italian Space Agency, Dr. Giorgio Sacoccia, and a number of panelists as well. So thank you so much. Thanks everybody. Thanks, last but not least, Professor, you've been outstanding in moderating this webinar and making your insightful comments and your presentation. So thanks to everybody, and I hope see you soon, hopefully in person. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.